Hey everyone, I was going around Twitter the other day and I found someone talking about how the Power Rangers Ultimate Visual History book from Insight Edition is like out of print and extremely rare now. Like there's no copies up on eBay or Amazon and it's tricky to find now. I thought that was so strange because like it just came out a few years ago. It's not that old and it's not like it was super limited or anything. So, but then I was thinking about it a little bit more, and I realized that there really aren't too many nonfiction Power Ranger books out there, and that's probably the biggest reason why it's not available at the moment. Because I remember when it came out, a lot of fans were a bit disappointed with it because uh, it was extremely basic, and there was some really major layout problems with the book. It was an okay book, and like for Power Ranger fans, definitely it's a must-buy, but I don't know, as a big fan, a lot of the book just seemed to parrot back stuff that I already knew. And then there were like entire pages wasted on like one stock image, and then there was a weird thing with each chapter would go over like each individual season or the movies, but it would kind of gloss over any controversies, like any negative critical reception those seasons got was kind of overlooked, any like behind the scenes drama was overlooked. So it kind of yeah. But anyway, going over all the nonfiction Power Ranger books here. First up is the live tour program. This is enormous. It, yeah, this is crazy big. I did a video about this a long time ago. Like one of my very first videos was about this book. Now the size is actually works pretty well because we get these amazing pictures from the show. Let's see. Or well, most of the pictures are from the show. Then we get like just random stock images for some reason. So, let's see. Get a good look at Zed down there, the way he appeared in the show, looking a little bit different than how we're familiar with him. Pictures of a bunch of the monsters. Lumitor there without an eye patch. Let's see, very strange-looking Babu. There's Zed. And that's not the Goldar from the show. That's Goldar from... Or, well, not the live show. That's Goldar from the normal show. And Squat and weird purple Rita. Yeah, this was one of those weird things where they colored Rita purple, and I still don't know what the reason there was. And there's a bunch of the putties. Let's see. A whole bunch of just random shots from the live show there. If you haven't seen the live show, I definitely recommend it if you're a Mighty Morphin fan. It kind of drags in spots, but there is some fascinating stuff in there. Now, oddly, one of the things that's not in this book is the weird little alien cult that comes to work for Zed. They're not in here, and I don't know why. So maybe this was like a earlier version. And in the back we get some commercials for Nabisco and Toys R Us. Let's see, and somewhere there's, maybe it's on the next page. Yep, there it is. 7-Up. All sponsors of the show. Oh, and there we get the weird-looking Alpha from the show. So there's the live tour program. It's a neat little novelty thing to have, and also not particularly rare. I was surprised. I found this for like $10 on eBay twice. One time it wasn't even just by itself. I bought it in a lot of stuff. Okay, what next? Let's see, I'll talk about this next. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie scrapbook, a behind-the-scenes look. Now, this is a really cool thing. I had this when I was a kid, and when I was a kid, I loved behind-the-scenes documentaries and TV specials and things like that. I remember watching, like, making of Star Wars and Star Trek and behind-the-scenes stuff about Power Rangers, and I always found all that stuff just so fascinating. Everything that went into making a movie or a show and special effects and how they work. So this is really, really cool. So let's see, we get cast information about each of the Ranger cast members, as well as Bulk and Skull and Ivan Ooze. And then we get stuff about where it was filmed, the locations, and the sets, and the props, and some of the other actors, and how certain special effects were done, like the green screen skydiving scene at the beginning. We get stuff about the director, We even get a little thing about Paul Schreier helped direct some scenes with Shuki Levy. Let's see, some behind-the-scenes stuff with the cast. Oh, and a skull with a koala there. That's funny. And, yep, that's it. So this is a really cool book. This one I have not seen, like, floating around as much. I found mine at the thrift store way back when I was really little. And, I really wore it out. There's tape all along the edge here holding it together, because I took this with me everywhere, but I tried to take really good care of it. So, next up. Oh, what do I want to talk about next? I guess I'll go in kind of order and stick to Mighty Morphin stuff. Now, this book kind of stretches the meaning of nonfiction, as a lot of this is just complete bullcrap, and also a lot of it isn't even about Power Rangers. There's quite a big chunk of it that's all about VR Troopers. I'm talking about The Truth About Power Rangers by Phil Phillips. And there he is, with a very punchable face. Ugh, okay, anyway. This is a bizarre religious propaganda book about how Power Rangers and also VR Troopers are extremely bad for your kids, and you shouldn't under any circumstances allow them to watch, because it'll turn them into murderous killing machines. Yeah. This book is incredibly dated? I don't know if that's quite the right word, because I'm pretty sure things that are said in here were pretty offensive at the time, too. Things like how, Jason and Tommy teaching karate classes is wrong because that promotes Eastern philosophy, and that's not something that a Christian white child should have in their head. And then it talks about in VR Troopers, what was it? The VR Troopers are often seen in skimpy clothing. And the episode he was referring to was an episode where they're at a pool, and he overlooks the point that the element that Master Tao, the chunky older Asian guy, yeah, he's in a skimpy bathing suit too. Whatever. Anyway, this book is kind of interesting. If you're a fan of Power Rangers, I'd say, yeah, go ahead and try and find it, because it is kind of entertaining if you're into, like, bizarre, like, backwards propaganda for things with a slightly racist tinge to it. Or, I'm not really sure if it's what you could consider racist, but it's definitely misinformed and extremely biased, as the guy says that instead of watching Power Rangers, you should have your kids watch slower-paced shows like Winnie the Pooh or Mr. Rogers, which I love Winnie the Pooh and Mr. Rogers, but that's not what I want to watch all the time. Sometimes I wanted to watch Power Rangers when I was a kid. I mean, okay, whatever, anyway. This guy apparently made a whole career out of writing propaganda books. In the back, they have a list of other stuff he's written. There's a thing about how Barney the dinosaur is a negative influence because Barney is a dinosaur, which implies evolution. Yeah, seriously. And then, let's see, just violence on TV in general, TV shows based on toys, Halloween and Satanism. Oh, and then there's another book, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Exposed, by some other person, talking about how Ninja Turtles is bad. Alright. So anyway, yeah, there's this ridiculousness. Oh yeah, and there's also some stuff about anime, and he talks about Sailor Moon being a bad influence for one reason or another. I can't remember exactly what he says. Thumbs down on that one. But it's a fascinating novelty. So anyway, next up, just bringing it up because of one issue, Alien Encounters in Angel Grove. This is a book all about all the different monsters in Angel Grove, presented as if it's like a real-life historical account of the monster invasions of Angel Grove. And in the back, there's even a joke about the author, and at the bottom it says, "This is his first work of nonfiction." It isn't. It's a joke, but just figured I'd toss that one in there, because it's Mighty Morphin. So, moving on to, let's see, what do I want to talk about next? Yeah, this is weird. Outside of Mighty Morphin, there wasn't really a whole lot of nonfiction stuff for Power Rangers outside of the occasional magazine article or something like that. So, the next thing I have is The Power Lives On 20 Years of Power Rangers by R.C. Roberts. This book is actually pretty interesting. It gives a really decent overview of the entire franchise. There's a lot of behind the scenes information. It covers like a tiny bit about like each series, although it doesn't really cover them in too much depth, and a lot of this there's like a lot of grammatical errors and spelling errors, and it makes me think that a lot of this may have been plagiarized from Wikipedia articles. Now, the interesting thing with this book, originally this was a digital download, and then later it was printed as a paperback. So, something. Okay, and this is a weird one. I don't even know. I don't think this is an official book. It's the Power Rangers Super Legends Game Guide from Pro Gamer. And if you're a big video game fan who like is a Power Ranger fan as well, and you're like, hey, I've never heard of the Super Legends Game Guide, well, it's probably because I don't think this is official. Oh, and also, if you look really close, there's some stolen artwork there. Or maybe it's artwork, like, from the game, I don't know, but regardless, I'm not sure how much of this book is legal. Oh, let's read the back. Find tips, tricks, hacks, and cheats with our Pro Gamer Guide. Play the game as a pro and beat your opponents to advance further in the game. Alright, that's kind of a given. Complete all levels with ease and find useful insight, secrets from... Complete all levels with ease and find useful insight secrets from professional gamers. Shouldn't it be insightful secrets? Become the expert with this easy-to-understand gaming guide. Easy to understand, huh? Well, I'm going to read, let's see, let's flip to a random page. Or actually, you know what, I'm just going to read the first page, because, like, yeah, first page, like, that's actually a guide to the book. Operation Overdrive. Now, I remember playing Super Legends on my PS2. The first level was an Operation Overdrive level. So, we have bullet points. First bullet point. Spell all letters to unlock a new ranger, period. Second bullet point. Use double jump to go up. Third bullet point. Defeat all enemies. Fourth bullet point. Use wall jump to go up. Next bullet point. Double jump to cover long distance. Next bullet point. Use double wall jump to go. Next bullet point. Press your on-screen key to open and get in. Next bullet point. Defeat them all to clear. Next bullet point. Go forward and kill everyone. Next bullet point. Attack to bracket, then go up. Next bullet point. Use double jump to go on a platform. Use down key, plus sign, space, to go down. Use platforms to go forward. Open and enter. Defeat all to clear barriers. Go forward using platforms. Fight with level boss. When he attack, save your ranger by going back. Attack. Jump over the fire. This entire book is like that. It's all gibberish nonsense. The only way to make any sense of this is to have this right next to you while you're playing the game, and even then, what it's telling you to do is just how to play the basic game. It's like they took random YouTube, like, closed captioning from a Let's Play of it with someone talking over it, and they didn't get it all right. So anyway, there's a whole bunch of ridiculous stuff, including, like, misspellings, grammar errors, random capitalization, random periods. Let's see. Oh, and also, they misspell galaxy. Yeah, the word galaxy is misspelled. Lost Glexy. Lost Glexy. Let's see, and then what else was there? Okay, I guess that was the only one they spelled wrong, but it's still pretty bizarre. So yeah, there's the Super Legends Game Guide. Not particularly a helpful game guide, not really a cohesive book at all, but, I mean, it's good for a laugh, I guess, if you happen across this. So there's that. And next up is Brands We Know, Power Rangers. This was a series of educational books, apparently, for schools. They go over various franchises and companies: Amazon, American Girl, Apple, Barbie, Coca-Cola, Crayola, Dairy Queen, blah blah blah. And this particular one is all about Power Rangers. And we get a really interesting cover. I did a whole video going over this particular book, if you want to go back and watch that. So, it's got a bunch of interesting, like, behind-the-scenes information about, like, the creation of the series, how the franchise works, various things about, like, the fandom. There's a little timeline that's, alright. It's also very, very brief, being, like, an elementary school-level book. This is the type of thing that I would have read back in, like, 3rd or 4th grade. There's a glossary of terms, there's a to learn more at the library, and there's a little list of books, none of which are about Power Rangers. And then there's on the web, learning more about Power Rangers is easy as 1, 2, 3. Go to www.factsurfer.com, enter Power Rangers into the search box. So yeah, you have to go to Fact Surfer. I don't remember that from when I was a kid. I'm guessing it's a more recent thing. And then there's a little index, and it's fine. Like, for school libraries, this is a perfectly fine book. There's not really anything in here that you wouldn't know if you're already a big fan. Also, this is kind of a tricky book to find. Like, once in a great while, it pops up on eBay. Like, a while ago on eBay, I did find a copy of this for, like, 15 bucks or something. Mine was almost 30. Yeah. But I was really curious about what it was. So then next up is Metamorphose. This is a Spanish language book, I think. Let's see. Yep, Spanish. I can read some of it, but I'm not the best at Spanish. I'm really rusty. So, this, in addition to being all about Power Rangers, it also gives a lot of backstory and information about Super Sentai, Ultraman, Kamen Rider, and just Tokusatsu as a whole. And, let's see, so there's a bunch of backstory about Power Rangers and all these different Tokusatsu shows. There's some stuff about the creation of Power Rangers. There's stuff about Saban and Shuki Levy there. They go into stuff about, oh yeah, there's Ron Wasserman there, who did the music. Let's see. They even go into some of Haim Saban's political career. That's bizarre. So then, anyway, this is a really in-depth book. If you can read Spanish, or if you're willing to translate it, this is definitely worth your time. One of the really cool things, in the back, they have a list of, like, all the Sentai series, and they give, like, a brief description of the premise and talk about what Power Rangers series it was turned into. And one of the really cool things is they even include Akiba Rangers. That's really cool. So yeah, there's Metamorphose Arce, a book in Spanish all about Power Rangers and Tokusatsu in general. Oh, and I did a video all about this one. I'll put links in the description. And next up, I'll talk about this before I get to the Ultimate Visual History hardcover. Here we got Power Rangers Trivia. Discover funny things about Power Rangers. And we got Dino Fury on the cover. Although I've seen other copies of this that put other random images on the cover. There's stolen art from the comics. There's stolen, like, deviant art. And I say stolen because I'm pretty sure this, like that game guide, is another bootleg thing. Although it does say copyright. So, I don't know. Let's see. The author and publisher have provided this ebook to you for your personal use only. You may not make this ebook publicly available in any way. Copyright infringement is against the law. Alright. So, yeah, there's that. Oh, and then, one of the really funny things, let's see. If you think, blah, 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 blah. Please notify the publisher at, and then there's a link.
The link's not working!
Why is there a link in a book? Because I'm guessing this is all, like, just, yeah, copied from other things. So anyway, trivia. And I don't know for sure, because I don't have one yet. I'm thinking a lot of this is plagiarized from the Power Rangers Trivial Pursuit game. In particular because of a few egregious spelling errors and answers that, yeah, don't really make any sense. So let's pick out a random one. Let's see. Oh, and the other thing about Trivial Pursuit is I believe they have like little explanations for the answer. So, what is Kimberly's last name? Answer: Hart. And then the description says, Kimberly's last name is Hart. It's been mentioned several times in the show. In fact, her full name is Kimberly Ann Hart. And then, let's see. Let's flip to another random page. What type of foot soldiers does Emperor Grum use? Answer: Crybots. Grum used Crybots as foot soldiers. And then it goes on. Chillers were used in Power Rangers Operation Overdrive, Nylocks in Power Rangers Samurai/Super Samurai, and Putty Patrollers in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Crybots used to come in 3 versions, namely Simple, Bluehead, and Orangehead Crybots. So what was the deal going into all this other stuff? Also, Crybots used to? Used to? What do they mean by used to? They never showed up again after SPD. They only showed up in those versions. So then, let's flip to another random one. Let's see. Who was the leader of the Alien Rangers? Answer: Delphine. Delphine was the first female team leader in the Power Rangers franchise. She was the White Alien Rangers. She was played by Raja Barodi. She introduced herself as the leader in several episodes. Like, okay, that's right, but it's still it's awkwardly worded. She introduced herself as the leader in several episodes. Oh, that just feels weird. So yeah, if you can find this and you want to laugh, I guess get it. There are funnier things in here. I didn't really come across them just randomly flipping through this. Like, most of this kind of makes sense, but I'm pretty sure it's all plagiarized from the Trivial Pursuit game. So finally here's the Power Rangers Ultimate Visual History. And there's a hole in the cover. Hello. Why is there a hole in the cover? I don't know. I guess I thought it would look cool. Really, it's just really inconvenient. I remember seeing videos from people who unboxed this back when it was new, and they cut themselves on the sharp edges of the lightning bolt. And after a few years, these begin to wear down. Like, you can see some of, oh, there it is. The paper, like, starting to chip off down here. But I try to take really good care of my stuff. Oh, and also, the cover, the title was just printed on there, and it's wearing off. So that's annoying. Oh, this book also came with a poster, but it's hanging up in my closet over there. So anyway, we get a foreword with Amy Jo Johnson there. That's pretty cool. I like when they give, like, old actors forewords and such things. There's also an introduction. Not sure who wrote the introduction. I guess maybe the writer. And then we get a whole bunch of stuff about the making of the series, how Haim Saban first saw it and brought it over. And here's the first example of one of the problems with the book. This enormous picture that's a pretty common picture. Like, if I wanted to see this, I could just look this up online. And that's one of the big problems, is there's a lot of wasted space in this book. Now, there's also some space that's put to good use. Like, up here we got some rare concept art of the command center. Down here we get a like really old shot of the pilot command center with Pilot Alpha there. That kind of stuff is really cool, and I don't mind seeing this kind of like old rare stock art or concept art. Oh, and then here's another weird thing. The layout of the book is a bit of a mess. Here we got some more concept art, and it's just glued in. And it was glued in a little off, so the corner got folded over when I shut the book. That's nice. And what makes it even stupider is what's behind it. Another common image, just taken straight from the show, so why couldn't this be printed instead of this? Why is the more interesting thing just glued in? Let's see, and then, somewhere there's... Oh, there it is. Now, this is kind of a cool thing. We get big 2-page spread of a bunch of monsters, and then it folds out even more monsters. Isn't that amazing? Except these are all just from Sentai. These are just Sentai publicity shots of the monsters. And they wasted a bunch of pages on them. And here's another big page just wasted on a common image. Like some of these images, like this, right there. There's Ko from Dire Ranger. Oh, and this gets really bad in Season 3. Let's see. Let's skip ahead to Season 3's thing. There it is. We get a gigantic stock image of Rito from Kaku Ranger holding a guitar. And they have the courtesy to tell us that Rito wasn't given a guitar in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Yeah, it's almost like this wasn't the best choice of an image to use. Let's see, and then there's these odd little things. Again, we get like little fold-out things just glued inside. This one's about like Power Rangers and merchandise and toys and things, which is fascinating and all, but why? Why is it like this? Why didn't it just get its own chapter? The whole book is, yeah, quite strange with things like that. The layout's a mess. They have, like, just entire pages taken up with just very common images, and I'm not going to go too in-depth with it, but there's different chapters where they overlook controversies, and there's just a lot of weird things, like here's Super Megaforce. I think it's unanimous, most fans agree Megaforce was an absolute mess, and it wasn't what anybody wanted, and it was not a good it's not a well-executed series at all. But that doesn't stop them from trying to sugarcoat things. Like, one of the things they bring up is about Robo Knight just showing up out of nowhere after being established as dead. And the answer that the guy gives is, well, we thought that the morphing grid united all the Rangers, and it made sense for him to be there. That's not really a very satisfactory answer. I'm sorry, it doesn't really explain anything of... And it's weird, because now we actually do know why, because there's interviews with various writers for the show that have come out, and some of the writers for Megaforce have said that one of the big problems was there wasn't communication between the writers. The people who wrote the episode where Robo Knight dies weren't in communication with the writers of the episode where Robo Knight comes back to life. Out of nowhere. And for whatever reason, both those scripts were approved and shot and played on TV and released on DVD. There's also some really strange things that they keep in there, and I don't know why. Like, just the strangest statements. Like, in Lost Galaxy, it's talking about Scorpius and Trakina, and they have a bit from Jackie Marchand, or Marchand, whatever. There's a thing from her where she says, we never logically had an explanation for how Trakina was Scorpius's daughter. What? That's completely irrelevant information, especially since we do have, like, an implied reason in the show of how she's his daughter and why she doesn't look the way he does. In Lost Galaxy, Scorpius is a big slug crab thing, very buggy-looking creature. Trakina is very humanoid-looking, and she's his daughter. In Power Rangers, do you really think about the logistics of who's whose kid? But anyway, later on, we do get an explanation for how that could be. Scorpius has this magic cocoon thing, and he tells Trakina, "You must shed your mortal beauty and step into the cocoon and become an insect like me." And she's like, "No," and then she leaves, and then Scorpius dies. She comes back, and then at the end of the series, she goes in and comes out looking very bug-like. Not as inhuman as Scorpius did, but definitely more bug-like. And you have to wonder, like, what if she did accept the offer and just go into the cocoon? Would she have looked more like Scorpius? Anyway, so my assumption is that Scorpius was probably humanoid at some point, went into the cocoon, came out looking like the way he does. So the statement is just irrelevant to me. I don't know why they thought that, oh, this deserves to be printed in this book over, like, other things that could be seen as very important, like, I don't know, the whole Ancient Rangers concept that never happened, which, apparently we have information now that they didn't actually intend to use the Die Rangers, that was just a rumor, but there were plans on using some kind of Ancient Rangers or something. So, anyway, there's a bunch of the non-fiction Power Rangers books. We don't have a whole lot, and what we do have isn't very in-depth or anything. Unfortunately, it seems like the Ultimate Visual History book gives the widest overview of the whole series. The fact that I can complain forever about one stupid, inane statement in the Lost Galaxy section, I mean, that shows how much this book has. On the other hand, though, like, it's a mess. And it wastes a lot of space on really common images and just, like, nice platitudes about things that fans, yeah, probably won't appreciate, but whatever. So anyway, that's all for this one. Hope you found this informative. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.